What's up, everybody? It is your boy Chris Closes Your Deal with Real Estate Investing Made Easy and Lazarus Property Group, and we're jumping on a few more seller calls before the end of the day here. So I got some dials we're gonna make, and hopefully lock up some deals here. So let's jump right in.
Evening is Miles.
Hey, Miles, this is Chris. How are you?
Good. Chris, who?
Good. Yeah, Chris Deal. I was actually reaching out to you about your place on Owl Tree. You had spoken to one of my referral partners, I believe it was Jerry, either today or the other day, about possibly selling that property. He paired you with us because we thought we would be a good fit for you. It's now a bad time?
Um, no, I got like 5 minutes.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, he had mentioned here in the notes that you were possibly looking to sell that property. Is that correct?
Kind of. I mean, we're almost done renovating the house, and
Mhm.
we were planning on selling it probably around mid next year.
Got it. Okay.
So you guys called a little ahead of when we were going to be finishing up,
Got it. Okay.
actually.
Okay. All right. All right. What's
We're not quite ready, really,
okay.
to get out of the house because we haven't even like started looking for a new home,
Mhm.
um, or any of that sorts. And I let him know that.
Got it.
Um,
Okay. All right. So you guys, I mean, do you just normally just like, buy properties, live in them, renovate them, and then move on, or just happen to be with this one?
so we've done it twice now.
Mhm.
I bought one when I was, in my early 20s,
Mhm.
and that was a newer home. We finished, we did a little bit of upgrading to it and then sold it. And then this was our second home after we got married.
Mhm.
And um, this one was a complete fixer-upper. So I mean, we did, you know, new lighting, new floors, new bathrooms, new kitchen. Um, I mean, pretty much an overhaul of everything in this house. um, and then we're debating if we're going to do it again. Um, I think we're more looking to buy probably closer to like a, 20, 30 year
Got it.
live-in home.
Okay. All right. What's still, I know you'd mentioned, not quite finished with the remodel. Like what's still left on the list to get done before you guys are ready?
Oh, mostly exterior work. We need a little bit of new siding, paint, a little bit of landscaping kind of
Got it.
work, and then on the inside of the house, we removed all the popcorn ceiling. So there's, I think, there's the hallway and a bedroom, the master bedroom. That's all popcorn ceilings that we haven't gotten rid of yet.
Got it. Okay. Okay. All right. So, I mean, is there any world where you guys sell as is and, cash out and move on, or are you looking to finish everything up and then, pull top of the market value for it? It's kind of a
No, no, I definitely think, um, if the offer was right, we would definitely sell as is,
okay.
and move on. It'd just be more of, like I said, timing for us. Because like definitely in the next few months isn't ideal because it's too cold,
Yeah.
and we haven't really looked at anything on the market just yet, so that wouldn't be great. But like probably earliest next year, like March, April area
Got
would
it.
probably
Okay.
be an all right because that's when we would start renovating anyway.
Yeah.
So if you get a hold of us back then, we might be open to just, selling as is and getting out.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. Um, Cool. Well, yeah. So what I'll do, I mean, I'll put you in, in my system here to, maybe circle back with you after the new year, maybe like mid late January, kind of get the ball rolling at that point and then see, typically most of our deals were closing usually somewhere in the 30 to 60 day time range. So, because people have to, get settled, figure out, their next step and, that type of stuff. So, if we talk sometime, mid, late January, early February, should give enough time for you guys to make the move that you need to make and still hit kind of that timeline where you're looking to kind of move on. Just out of curiosity, I mean, like, what are you guys hoping to get for the property, in its current condition?
Even in its current condition, I think if we hit the market right now, we'd probably be um, just a skosh over 200,000.
Okay, got it. So 200, little over 200 on market. So,
Yeah, I mean, if we weren't putting it on the market and trying to get offers, I'd probably expect a little bit higher than what market would be, just because the way the houses are going. They're usually selling above what market is anyway.
hmm,
We'd probably set at market, and then from the way we've been selling homes and seeing homes and stuff, it'd probably be, on that high end of market value.
got it. Okay. So, sorry, I'm trying to track with you. You said you'd put it on market for just a little over 200, but if you don't go on market, you'd want a little more.
Well, we'd probably go fair market values, probably like 208 is what we'd hit at market with. And I would
Okay.
guess at that, we'd probably end up actually selling it probably around closer to like 215, 220.
Okay. Got
Because
it.
at that
Got it.
point, we'll finish the renovation, so it'll be a little bit
Ah,
even higher.
I gotcha. I
So,
gotcha. Okay. All right. Um, okay. So, but it sounds like if you hit the market and you got an offer right around like the 205, 210 range, you guys would be pretty okay with that.
um, if it was around that, we'd probably wait a little bit, honestly, to see what better offers we got, as is our friends have sold homes recently, and we know they've been putting them on at, you know, 220, 260,
Mhm.
380, and they end up getting, bids for anywhere from 10 to 20 or 30,000 over what they listed for. So
Okay. Got it. So you're really looking for in that 215, 220 range.
probably closer to that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. And then obviously, like on market, you're going to have your realtor commissions, closing costs, buyer requests for repairs, home warranties. 93 to 95% of listings now, when they end up selling, they're typically sellers are throwing in like an interest rate buy down, which is usually, depending on the value of the home, usually anywhere from like $3,000 to $5,000. So, when it's all said and done, the cost to sell on market usually ends up being about 10 to 11%. So, if you got like a 215 offer, you'd probably be netting right around the 190, 194 range. Does that sound about right for you?
Yeah, that's probably pretty close. And for us, I think I think really just be depending upon, like, if we sold direct to you, what the final payout for us would be, because
Yeah.
the home we're looking for and looking at are closer to like around the
Mm,
$500,000 range. So we've been here for a while, so we're looking for a big step up. So we'll need basically the right amount for our down payment and everything that we have to do to get into that home.
got it.
And we haven't, and next year we'll have a closer idea of what we'll actually end up needing for
Yeah.
that and what we actually need to sell this place for. So,
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. And do you guys have a mortgage on the property currently, or is it fully paid off?
we have a like we have a low mortgage
Got it.
on the
Okay.
home right now.
Okay. All right. Roughly, like roundabout, like where are you thinking you're at?
Probably 70.
Okay. All right. So you'll still, you walk with, in that type of scenario, you walk with somewhere in the neighborhood of like $125,000 of equity or so. When it's all
Yeah.
said and done. Okay. All right. Cool. And you're just gonna put all that down on the new home, or yeah,
Yeah,
you
pretty
gotta.
much.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. Well, I mean, you know, if there was a world where we could, get you a number that was, pretty close to that, that net number, but you didn't have to go through the whole hassle of, listing it, having all the open houses and walkthroughs and all that jazz, and, deal with, people picking apart, things they may or may not like. I mean, is that something you guys would entertain, or are you really just trying to, throw it out there
No,
and bid it
no,
up?
I think that's something we would easily entertain. It would just depend on how fast you guys would need to close once we figured a number out. Because, like I said, we haven't looked at housing at all
Yeah,
for the most part. So once that time actually came, if you guys are looking like, hey, we'll get you an offer Friday and we'll need an answer within, 48 hours, and then we're going to close 30 days after,
hmm
that probably won't be enough time for us to find a new home.
yeah,
So we would need like, hey, this is going to be your offer, you know, mull it over for a week or two, but we'll need an answer within 2 weeks, and then we'll do, a 30 or a 45-day closing or something so we can have time to, assess what we're looking for.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, typically, like I said, most times our closings are usually in 30 to 60 days, but there's scenarios like we just did a deal. We're actually still under contract with the seller, where they needed time. They were looking out of state, and so obviously it's harder to look for a new house out of state than it is, when you're staying in the same area. And so with them, they requested from us to do a 120-day close of escrow, and then it was contingent upon them finding suitable housing, and then if they still couldn't find the right house for them in that time frame, then it would just automatically extend for I think it was like 60 days or something like that. So um it's not normal, but like all that to say is we can be flexible, just given the circumstances, and figure out something that makes sense for everybody. um the biggest difference with that situation was what they were willing to do, because, if we're waiting, 4 or 5 months to close, and then we can't start doing any work on it until then, and then, if that work takes, 3 to 5 months, and then we list it. So what that seller was open to doing with us is they allowed us to kind of pre-market the property like a coming soon. And what we've done, and I'm not saying that that fits for this scenario, but kind of what it did was it allows us to start marketing the property to end buyers while we're in contract. And then we find buyers that are like, hey, I really want, like, I want this color flooring, and I want these color cabinets, and I want these color countertops, and allows them to kind of pick and choose. And we can kind of take our time, find the right buyer, and make a home that makes sense for that final end buyer. But we pre-marketed kind of like a coming soon, while we're in contract. So I don't know if something like
Okay.
that would make sense, but the benefit to that is it shortens our timeline, from when we close. There's times where we've had a buyer in place literally before the day we even closed. And so then that shortened our hold time, which obviously saves us some of our financing costs. And then we just pass that along to the seller in the form of, a more appropriate offer that makes sense for them.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that sounds pretty good. Why don't you put us on for calling us back probably around like mid to late February. I
Okay.
think that'll be a good time for us to it'll give us time to figure out our game plan and what we're looking for.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Well, I'll do that, and I'll circle back with you, sometime in February.
Excellent. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate your time. And give me a call if you have any questions or need any help along the way. In the meantime, definitely don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks. Yep.
Bye.
Okay, let's go on to the next.
Hello?
Hi, can I speak to Patrick?
This is not his phone.
Oh, is this his wife?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Chris. I was reaching out because maybe it was you that spoke with my colleague, my referral partner, Kim, about a property you guys own over on Teal Way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they thought we'd be a good fit. Is now a bad time for you?
Well, I'm not actually ready to move if I'm going to. We're going through a divorce, so I don't know what's going on exactly.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's
I,
okay, thank you.
you know, I sometimes that's either a really, really good thing for people, and sometimes it's a really bad thing for people. So I don't want to presume either way, you know.
Right.
Um, okay. Um, I mean, how like are you guys already in? Sorry, I don't want to like pry or anything. Just trying to understand how we can best, help you guys and, work with you based on your guys' urgency and, um,
Well, I don't think the house is going to be in dispute, but there may come a time when I do want to sell it,
mhm,
but
got it.
I don't know when that would be.
Okay, got it. Are you guys on like speaking terms or is it
Yes,
okay? All right, good. And I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. My name's Chris.
it's Angie.
Angie. Nice to meet you, Angie.
You
Um,
too.
well, just know, I mean, we've dealt with these types of situations hundreds of times. As a matter of fact, we have another property right now that we're selling. We're helping the sellers, and they're kind of going through similar situation. They just haven't started like any proceedings yet or anything like that. Um, but I mean, we've worked with sellers in this type of situation a lot, and we always try to. We know it can be touchy and like handling both parties and making sure that everybody's on the same page, and we're helping out as much as
Yeah.
possible. I guess as far as like timeline, is there any timeline in mind that you think you may be considering selling?
At this point, I'm I don't even know because I'm not even sure what's going on
Hmm,
with all of this. Um, but I would like for you to be available in the next 3 to 6 months in case there's a need that comes up
mhm.
that we need an appraisal or
Yeah.
an offer. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll certainly be here. Usually, so I'll just kind of give you the lay of the land. Most people I talk to that are going through this type of situation, this is the first time they're going through it. So it's not like they have, it's kind of a crash course as you're going through it. You don't really plan for it. So typically, there's a couple ways it usually goes down is either both parties kind of amicably figure out, hey, it makes the most sense for us to sell, and they figure out how they're going to handle, any proceeds,
Right.
together. Alternatively, it's people are at each other's throats. They've already filed, they've got lawyers involved, and a lot of times if they can't come to a reasonable um, expectation that everybody's on board with, then it just goes through to a point where a judge literally just comes down and says, this is what's going to happen, whether you like it or not. Um,
Right. This isn't my first rodeo, but I am in the legal field, so I get all of that. And yeah, this is like the first time I had really anything to lose. So,
got it. Okay. All right. Um, well, I mean, at this point, like, our goal is not to, pressure anybody
huh?
into selling. Or speed up the process for them. We just want to operate, with the same level of urgency that they have. I was just we have a seller who needed 120 days before we closed, and then we have other ones where it's like, no, my house is literally going to get auctioned tomorrow, and I need you to
Oh
stop
wow.
it. and we can do everything in between. Now that doesn't mean we bought their house like the day before the auction. We had to like
Right.
jump through some legal hoops to basically stop the auction, buy ourselves the time necessary to be able to move forward with the property. But all that to say is, you know, we can work with a whole broad range of situations, timeframes, and everything. So, I guess, my question for you is like, is it a scenario where you don't really desire to sell the house, but like if that's what it comes to, that's where you'll go, or
Yeah, that's
okay,
exactly.
okay, all right, got it. And is is Patrick, right? Is he pretty much on board with that and just like whether it be buying you
Yeah.
out or got it. Okay. Okay. All right. What do you see as like a potential hurdle to that at this point?
Just the financial part of everything.
Got it. Okay. Just being able to like afford to handle like the mortgage and stuff or just like what
Well,
they're going to
I mean,
value.
is he gonna want to sell it so that he can get his half? Is he gonna want to get it appraised? I mean, stupid legal stuff like that.
Got it. Okay. All right. Do you guys have a mortgage on the property?
Yes,
Okay. Are both of you on the mortgage or just one of you?
unfortunately, but I think because he wasn't working, they just ran my credit
Got
on
it.
the refi. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so okay, so you may already know this. So you could both be on the title, but there could be a scenario where only one of you are on the mortgage. So like when you get the monthly mortgage payment, is it addressed to both of you?
Um, I would have to check, but
Okay. All right. Yeah, I would double check into that because one of the harder things to do is unwind a person off of a mortgage. So if you know, a lot of the times I see these scenarios, it's like people are parting ways, and usually if like one spouse is keeping the house and the other's not, the spouse that's not keeping the house isn't expecting to be able to go buy another house. So usually they're like, yeah, I'm gonna have to rent for a period of time. It's just the reality. Um, but it is a bit harder to get a person removed from the mortgage because you got to deal with the lender on that, and that could be
mhm.
challenging. If but if he's not on the mortgage and he's just on the title, that's a relatively easy process to handle, assuming everybody agrees as to what he may be entitled to. What do you guys currently owe on the mortgage, do you know?
Yeah, $122,860.
Got it. Okay. And what do you think the property's worth at this point?
It's worth over four.
Got it. Okay. So okay. So let's just say it was 4 minus 122. So you're talking
Oh
about
my.
$278,000 of equity. So yeah, I mean if you guys were gonna split that,
Live by you. Sorry,
oh, no
my
worries, no
dog is
worries.
attacking my other dog.
Oh, oh no.
My puppy, he wants to play and she doesn't.
Oh, that's all how it always is, right?
Right?
Um, all right. So yeah, I mean, in that type of scenario, I mean, you're looking at, you know, close to $280,000 of equity to be, and if you guys end up splitting that 50-50, it's about 130, $140,000 you'd have to come up with. I mean, would that be, is that even in the realm of reality?
No, because we don't even know what's going on for sure with the financials. So,
Yeah,
and
got it.
I've been the only one paying the mortgage for probably the last 7 years.
Mm, got it. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, um,
I would say just keep my number and call me back in
yeah,
60 days and we'll
yeah.
see where we're at then.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. I'll circle back with you. Do you have a pen and a piece of paper? I'll give you my contact info as well, and then that way, if anything comes up in the meantime, and you just have some questions or need some help, feel free to give me a call.
Well, you think I'd have paper. I work remote, so I'm in the office at my house.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay, Chris, right?
Chris, yep. And my last name is Deal. I promise you that's my actual last name. Like, let's make a
What is
deal.
it?
Deal, like let's make a deal.
Oh, got it. Okay.
The name of our company is Lazarus Property Group, like Lazarus from the Bible.
Mhm.
And our telephone number here is 619-525-7132.
Where are you guys located?
I'm actually based out of San Diego, but we operate all over the place. So we have boots on the ground there in Indianapolis. It's actually our primary like #1 market that we do business in.
Got it.
So I'm remote like you, which is great.
Great. So I got your contact information. And I really kind of need to go
Yeah, no
deal with
worries.
these dogs.
No worries. Yeah, keep me posted if anything comes up, and if you have any questions, just give me a call, and happy to help out any way I can.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Angie. You have a great night.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. If you guys heard that call or you go back and listen to that call, a lot of those questions you want to kind of get out, like especially if it is going to be a follow-up, you want to just kind of like suss out to see whether there's an opportunity there at all or not, right? Because if she's like, I want to keep the house, I'm financially capable of keeping the house, I can buy him out tomorrow with no problems, even at 50%, then okay, it's unlikely that she's going to sell the house. She'll figure it out, right? But in this scenario, and this one is kind of a weird situation, right? Because they've paid down a lot. It's worth about 400. They have $122,000 mortgage balance. So that equity, $280,000 split two ways, it's $140,000 a piece. Not a lot of people have $140,000 sitting around to just shell out, right? So that makes it harder. But so it sounds like she's saying, yeah, that might be a little difficult, but she's also stated that she was the only one making the mortgage payments for the last 7 years. Well, that to me is a sign that if the husband isn't just completely on board and is like, hey, I'll take 25% or 30% or whatever, and the numbers work out to where she could buy him out easily, then it's going to go the route of attorneys, and then she's going to be justifying her position. Her attorneys are going to be building a case for the fact that she's made the payments for the last 7 years and all that rigmarole, and they're going to present that to a judge, and a judge is going to look at it and just objectively speaking is going to be like, okay, you were out of work, she was working 7 years, made all the payments. So, with that being said, here's how we're going to award it. And then he'll dictate whatever those terms are, to hopefully put her in a better position, which means this is probably not going to resolve itself unless the husband is completely on board with whatever she wants. It's probably not going to resolve itself in 60 days. It's probably going to go a whole long drawn out process, right? So I'm not going to put this on the high priority list of follow-ups. I'll put it in an automated text sequence where my text system will follow up with her and check in and see how things are going, and then we'll just take it from there. But I say all that to tell you guys, right? Like, fortune is in the follow-up. You absolutely want to be following up, but a big waste of time can also be in following up with the wrong people, right? And that's the biggest challenge, I think, for a lot of newer people is, they listen to sellers telling them something and they figure, oh, everybody's totally honest and telling me exactly what their motivation is and all that. And so then they end up following up with people where it's never worth following up with them because they're never going to sell and they're just blowing smoke and stringing you along. So keep that in mind, and that skill will get better as you continue in the business.
Hello,
Hi, is this Martha or Rosa?
Martha.
Hi, Martha. This is Chris. How are you?
Hi, how about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a little chilly here in San Diego, but hey, what can we complain about?
Here too. Here too is chilly.
Yeah, where are you located?
We are on the Inland Empire.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, the reason I was calling was because I believe I think it might have been, is it your mother, Rosa, that had spoken to one of my referral partners about a property that she owns here in, I believe it's on J Street, that she was
Yeah.
considering selling, and she had passed along your contact info to speak with you about it. Is now a bad time?
I think that who you need to talk to is her realtor.
A realtor. Okay. Does she have it?
Yes.
It didn't look like the property was listed.
Yes. Let me call her on the other line and ask her. His name is Samuel something because she is the one that is handling everything. Hold on just a sec.
Oh, well, before you call her, did your mother already sign like a listing agreement with her to sell it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. So they're working on listing the property.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
you wanted to list the property?
Well, no, no, no. We're investors, and so we buy homes cash. It doesn't really change anything for us, but if we do end up making an offer, like if she didn't, if she hadn't signed a listing agreement already, then whatever offer we make her, like no commissions would come out. But obviously, if she's already signed an agreement with an agent, she would be responsible for paying that agent's commissions, of course. So that's why I was just curious.
Mm-hmm. So let me call my mother
Okay. All right.
and ask her what's Samuel's phone number.
Okay.
I don't even know his last name. Hold on. Elizabeth, tengo un señor que está interesado en la propiedad de San Diego, en la línea, pero necesito el número de teléfono de Samuel, de Samuel. ¿Cuál es el apellido? Ok. ¿Cuál es el número? Ajá. Ujú. Entonces, lo tengo en la otra línea. Bye. Okay, Chris?
Yes.
Yes, okay. His name is Samuel Davila, Davila.
Davila.
Phone number 714-642-2449.
Okay, perfect. And do you have any idea what they're going to be listing the property for? Like how much?
No, he's handling everything.
Okay. All right. Got it. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just out of curiosity, why is your mother selling at this point?
Um, my mother is 90,
Oh.
and we live here in the Inland Empire. Is too far for her to take care of that.
Mm. Oh, is it a rental property or does she live in it?
She's no, no, no. My mother lives here like 2 blocks from me.
Oh,
No, no, no.
got
Yes,
it.
yes,
Okay. So she's got
yes.
tenants and she's tired of being a landlord.
Over there in San Diego because she's a landlord here. But
Oh,
over
okay.
there in San Diego, yes, she's tired. She's too
Got it.
much for her to handle.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially driving a couple hours to manage the property. That seems like a big hassle.
Hmm.
Um,
Look, the one that hassles is me because she's 90 and she can't see and she can't drive no more.
oh, got it. Okay. So you're like, Mom, you got to
Hmm.
get rid of this place. I can't keep driving you down there.
Yes, yes, yes,
I got
yes.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I'm curious. How long has she owned it? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know, maybe about 10 years,
Oh, okay.
more, something like that.
Got
I'm not
it.
sure.
Okay. Does she still have a mortgage on it or does she own it outright?
Don't know.
Okay. All right. Um, okay. All right. Perfect. Well, what I'll do, I'll reach out to Samuel and chat with him about it. Does it? Do you know if it needs a lot of work or is it in updated turnkey condition?
I don't think it's in turnkey condition.
Okay. Got it.
But you can go and look at it. Maybe
Okay.
my turnkey is not the same as your turnkey.
Got it. Okay. Yeah,
Mm.
usually our turnkey is in nicer the condition than most owners idea of turnkey condition. So um yeah, but okay. Well, yeah, I can reach out to Samuel and see if something makes sense here and kind of go from there. One last question before I let you go, and you may not know the answer to this, but I'm guessing as a rental, your mom kind of likes the income coming in monthly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there any world where she might be open to us upgrading her from the landlord to the lender and her selling it on terms where we, maybe give her a down payment and then make monthly payments to her so she can keep the income coming in and maybe shelter any taxes and that type of thing?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Okay. Got it.
I
She
don't
just
think
wants to
so.
be completely done with it, cash out and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, yeah, I'll reach out to Samuel and see if we can come up with something.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thanks, Martha. You have a great evening.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Hello, Michelle. This is Chris. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, I was actually calling about some vacant land that you had spoken to one of my referral partners about owning there in I think it was Kanawha County.
West Virginia, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Did I catch you at a bad time?
No.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Yeah, I wanted to just connect with you because there wasn't really a whole heck of a lot of information on it. And
And I
so,
don't have a lot of information about it. The only thing is, I know that it's 6 acres. I know that it's landlocked, but I don't know if the regulations in West Virginia. Somebody told me that the regulations had changed, and it wasn't landlocked anymore.
hmm,
And I know it's kind of in the line of the new airport that's being built. We've had some offers on it, but it's been kind of, not anything that we were interested in. But it's hard for me to give you an address because it's on the side of a mountain.
oh, got it. Okay. Um, yeah, that makes it difficult. I mean,
Mhm.
just out of curiosity, what's the highest offer you guys got that you turned down?
15,000.
Okay, got it.
I mean, it's just like we kind of inherited it, and then the property taxes on it are so low. Like, we don't have to get rid of it. I mean,
Hmm,
they're going to need it eventually for that airport. I have a feeling.
hmm,
So we're kind of just sitting on it. I think we
okay.
pay $35 a year for property taxes.
Got it. Okay. 35 per year. Um, I guess like what would you guys like what kind of number would move the needle for you guys where you would end up selling it?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It hasn't been appraised. Like I said, we're just kind of, I know that that area is changing over there. So I think eventually it's going to be worth a little bit of money.
Okay. Well, and
So that's
I mean,
kind of,
what do you think like a little bit of money is? I just don't want to presume. I don't know what kind of ballpark you're
I mean,
thinking it
I
might be
think
worth.
we could talk at like 25 or 30,000, I
Got it.
think,
Okay.
for 6 acres.
Yeah. Okay. Is any of the acreage usable or is it all like on the side of the mountain?
I mean, I don't know. There's a big housing addition built up right to it. And there might even be houses maybe partially on it. I'm not sure. We have to look into that. If that would be the case, then there would be an issue of you build on property that's ours, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure. I know it's usable, I believe.
Okay. Got it.
I mean, especially if the laws have changed about landlocked. Because what happened was they built an interstate through basically where my grandma's house was.
mhm.
And they took all of the time and left 6 acres behind.
Mm, got it.
So,
Okay. So there was like a eminent domain type of situation.
yeah. Mm.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's never fun. And, usually in my experience, when they do that and they leave behind stuff, it's like, I mean, I don't know, it could be perfectly usable, but a lot of times it's like, this isn't the best 6 acres. We're gonna we'll take the rest and cut the highway through, but we're gonna leave you with this. And it's like, well, gee, thanks. You took the better side better side of the farm here. So
And I believe that. I mean, I believe that's what they did back, we're talking 30, 40 years ago. I believe that was the case.
mm,
But it has been built up to as far as the property with
yeah.
houses. So
Okay.
that can't be the case now.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Well, I mean, I,
So
I would love to look into it. I mean, do you have any documentation on it?
I do. Let me talk to my husband. I work tomorrow first early morning, and I know the paperwork's out in the garage
Okay.
because somebody had actually sent a picture of the entrance to it
Uh-huh.
to us with their offer. So they had done some investigating
Okay.
into it. So I do have that, but it's out in the garage. He's already in bed, so I don't want to.
Yeah.
I can possibly get back to you tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a pen and a piece of paper? I'll give you my contact info, and if you want to email me over a picture of the whatever documentation you have, and then I can kind of see what I can come up with on my end.
Okay, let me hang. Okay. Wait. Okay.
Okay. So my name is Chris Deal, like Deal or No Deal.
Yes.
And the name of our company is Lazarus Property Group, like Lazarus from the Bible.
Okay.
And my telephone number is 619.
I think I got that on there. Can I just send it in a text?
So I can't actually receive text on this line, but I can give you my email address, and then anything you send will come straight to me. So it's just my first name, CHRIS, at LazProp, LazProp.com.
Okay.
And
Okay.
whatever
I'll
you can
try to get
send
it to you.
over, and then I can
Yeah.
take a look and see if we can come up with something and
Okay.
make something make sense. I mean, if we were to come up with a number that made sense for you guys, how soon would you guys be open to closing?
I mean, immediately. I mean, we're not doing anything with it. It's not something
Yeah.
that we just. I mean, we live in Indiana. We don't do anything with it. It's just
Oh,
it's
okay.
just there.
Got it. Where in Indiana are you guys? Are you in Indianapolis?
Fort Wayne.
Oh,
well,
okay,
New
Fort Wayne.
Haven, Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, nice. We do a lot of business in Indiana, so.
Well, we're about a mile from the new casino that's going to be built over here, so
Oh,
that's kind of
nice.
causing us a little bit of, I don't know,
Not nice.
excitement that kind of worry a little
Yeah.
bit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's always
Anyway, so-
trepidatious when those types of things go in. It's like, in some sense, it's good. In other sense, it's like, do I really want everybody just going gambling and drinking and all that jazz?
Right. Right.
But
Yeah, it's kind of. But anyways, all
Yeah,
right, honey,
but you can't
I'll get
fight the
that over to
system.
you.
All right, thanks.
No,
Have a good
all
one.
right, you too. Bye
All
bye.
right, see ya.
Hello.
Hey, Randy, this is Chris. We spoke the other day when you were at the memory care unit with your mom.
Oh yeah, good
Y-
times.
Yeah, sorry about that. How's
Yeah,
mom
that's all
doing?
right. She's doing okay actually. You know, it was her idea to go in. She she had she was just ready. So
Got it.
no guilt there.
Okay.
Just it was still kind of different. But
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Is that just like dementia, Alzheimer's, or what?
yeah,
Yeah,
dementia. Yeah, she knows who I am. So that's cool.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Awesome. Well, yeah, no, that's it's always tough, man. You know, both my grandfather and one of my grandmothers, kind of went through that. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's wild when like my grandfather was like way very progressed and
Uh-huh.
had no idea who me or my sister were, and
Sure.
that
Yeah.
was a very wild experience. It's crazy, just because of the it's almost like a terror type of a
Yeah. Yeah.
response,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's a shame. Medical science is great. It keeps everybody alive, but unfortunately, they haven't got that figured out, and so the
yep.
bodies are working and the brains have stopped. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which it was interesting because I'd never really like thought about, like it'd be one thing. It's like, okay, I just don't know who you are, but like then you take in the fear component that is
yeah.
very prevalent in those situations, and it's
Yeah.
like why is that? Trying to
Yeah.
understand that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I digress, man. I was reaching out obviously to talk about the property that you own on Weffel Street. I believe your
Yeah.
granddaughter is living there, and
Very good. Yeah.
needs a bigger home. And um, is now a bad time for you to talk about that, or?
No, I just work 3 days a week, and this is one of the days. And actually, this is kind of nice because it gives me something to do. I just drive. I'm kind of a glorified delivery boy, but I drive a lot of miles. Today I'll drive about 550.
Oh, wow.
I'm in the final couple hours of it. So
Okay.
I always tell my family, hey, you want to, if you ever, need to talk, now's a good time because I don't have shit else to do. So,
Yeah. What do you deliver?
uh, as it turns out, I deliver hog semen.
uh,
You haven't
net,
heard that one before, have you?
Nor have I thought I would ever hear that. That's that
Yeah,
is going to go on the list of wildest things
yeah,
I've ever heard. So you
yeah.
deliver hog semen.
Making bacon. That's what I'm doing. I,
That's a double entendre for you, huh?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
maybe a
yeah.
triple.
My kids get a big kick out of it. They tell everybody, So, but yeah, as it turns out, and of course, I never knew this until a few years ago when I started. And I guess I assumed that they did it the old-fashioned way, but apparently not. And these bags of semen have to be kept because I said, well, why don't you just FedEx it? And
Yeah.
and they said no, they're very. It has to be kept between 61 and 64 degrees. So we have these coolers and ice packs, and you get pretty good at it after a while. And they're pretty good at holding temperature if you can just keep them in an environment in the 60 to 70 range. They'll hold their temperature. So,
Wow.
but for obvious reasons, you can't just throw that in a FedEx truck. I worked FedEx for almost 20 years, and those trucks in the summer
They
get
bake.
they're 150 degrees. You don't want to spend any time back there. You want to go find that package and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in the winter, they're so cold that the snow that you track in doesn't melt on the floor. So
Oh, wow.
it's an
I feel like that's
experience.
by design to keep you running.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Oh man. I could just imagine, in your line of work, a headline now, like car crash on I-95, covered in
Yeah.
hog semen. Like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Thankfully, these things don't break open. I don't know what I would do if they did.
Yeah, that would be an interesting scenario. The ambulance driver, walking up and knocking on your door after the collision, like, is everything
No.
okay? Aside from the fact that I'm covered in hog semen,
That's
yes,
right.
I'm okay.
So
Oh man. All right. Well,
anyway,
yeah,
the house.
anyway. Yeah, the house.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you because I don't have particularly great news for you. I'll give you a little bit of the history here.
Okay.
I was informed by my granddaughter. Gosh, it's only been like a week, and that she didn't want to buy anymore. She wanted to move up or whatever, and she had some plans. The way that we bought it, she found the house and convinced me to. I was just the bank, and I told her, I said, okay, I don't want to make any money on this, but I don't want to lose any money either. So, I have about 75 in it at this point. Bought it for 50, and we've been putting some money in it. But fortunately, the market has improved to the point where I can do that. If the housing market hadn't improved, I would have cut her off. But as far as the improvements go. But anyway, I digress. And so it just so happens that day these calls have been coming in fast and furious. and I thought, okay, I'll take, I usually just say no, hang up. And so I took one, ended up talking to some guy, and because the first people you talk to are never, they're just trying to line up people for the higher ups to call.
Yep.
And I don't know where you stand in the whole scheme of things, but I'm just letting you know that finally talked to this guy again. I was out on my route one day, and he called me. I think it was the day after that, and I talked to him for over an hour, and I was very upfront with him, and I told him about the situation. I told him I owned it free and clear, so that was one of the questions he asked me was, well, what are you going to do if you don't sell it for what you want? I said, well, that's a beautiful thing. I don't have to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wants style, but it's like, yeah, sorry, not your luck, so I thought I made myself pretty clear, but anyway, so at the end of this whole conversation, he goes and talks to one of his people and comes back. He says, well, boy, they gave you more than I thought they would, blah, blah, blah. And it was like he was trying to sell me a car or something. Anyway, he ended up coming at me with $44,000. I laughed and I said, okay, bye. But by that time, I'd already taken another call from somebody else, and I kind of felt obligated to run the scenario through it. Didn't talk for an hour this time. I just told the guy what had just happened, and I said, listen, well, this guy was local, so he wanted to come out with his dad, and they came out and looked at it. And again, they're trying to, do the same thing, but I had my hopes up. He was in the mid-60s.
Okay.
And I said, okay, thanks. And while all this was happening, even though I told myself I wasn't, I took another call. And this guy also sounded, pretty decent. And he finally ended up around 88, which is pretty close. I mean, And I literally had to, I could do that. I mean, I would have to take a little bit less, and my granddaughter would have to take a little bit less. But this is starting to get old, even though it's only a week down the pike. We're getting pretty sick of this whole deal, and I guess the thing that kept me in it was I wouldn't have to do anything. That if she is adamant about leaving, I'm going to have to, there's a couple windows on the porch. We're going to have to paint some trim. We're going to, have to finish some stuff on the floors. And the bathroom and the kitchen are pretty much new. They're done. And it, it looks pretty decent. But anybody else, if they wanted to match the guy next door at 135, they're going to have to put, the one guy's, one of his, I know I have to put gutters on. He says, well, that roof is only, probably got another 5-8 years left on it. And, so if you want to really spruce this thing up, you're going to have to put a new roof on. I hadn't really counted on that. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times if a roof has less than I forget exactly the number. It's somewhere between 8 and 12 years. If it has less than that, then sometimes you run into some financing troubles.
Right.
So,
well, anyway, so I've been in contact with my granddaughter because this 88 was pretty close, and she's just done, and she says, you know what, I think we're just going to stay here. We'll stay here for the year, and actually that kind of made me feel better because I really did. I'd love to have my money back. Don't get me wrong, but she's about to make a horrible mistake. She wanted this money, and I said, what are you going to do? And she said, well, I just want enough money that I can lease a house for a year, not have to make a payment, and get this business that she and her fellow want to get started going. And so it's like, at the end of the year, what the hell's going to happen? You're going to, and you're pissing away equity. And, and the whole reason I did this was so that she could get a jump start on life. And if you're in real estate, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
She literally would have to start back over, and then work her way up to where she's, in 5 or 10 years, she's going to look back and say, wow, I fucked that up.
Yeah. What kind of business is she, are they looking to start?
They've both worked off and on at either a Starbucks or a Starbucks type of an operation. And so they feel like they know that business pretty well. And I had 4 restaurants. And that's the other reason that she's, and I'm sure that given the chance, of course, I never gave them, my family would have said, ooh, Randy, you sure you want to do that? And, but, hey, I didn't make a ton of money, but I never lost money on any of them. So, and it was a really great experience. So, and I was like 26 when I got my first one. So
nice.
So I can relate. And I understand where she's coming from. It's just, anyway. So we've pretty well, unless there's something that you can tell me that would cause me to rethink that, that's where we're at right now.
I gotcha. Okay. So what I'm hearing is, first 2 offers were just wildly too low, like wasn't even a consideration. The last one, had you guys thinking about it, and if she would have said, yeah, let's do it, you guys probably would have moved forward.
Yeah, it was closer to that 100 that we really wanted. And I don't think I'm being unrealistic.
Yeah.
And what the bank, I did talk to a banker because I might just finance it, and that way I would get my money and then just have her just make the payment on the loan. But I'm tossing that around, and he suggests, he says, you know what you need to do? He says, just go talk to a broker.
Yeah.
Talk to a real estate guy. Let's get a really good idea of what you can get on the market.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, and with that, and maybe that is the best route for you, but obviously, you have commissions, closing costs, buyer requests for repairs, home warranties, a
Yeah,
lot
yeah, and
of,
all the yeah, that's what I was trying to avoid. That's why this sounded so attractive. Oh man, that would be great if somebody would just write me a check and
yeah,
I'll go on to the next thing.
yeah, just be done with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, kind of where I'm at in the situation, I'm the last stop before, this gets over to the underwriters where they basically are gonna, look at a spreadsheet and, based on the information we gather,
Yeah.
on the call, they'll tell us whether it's even approved to get an offer and it fits the criteria we're looking for. And if they do, then they'll give us an offer,
Yeah.
or they're just going to tell us flat out like, hey, no, it doesn't meet the qualifications of what we're looking
Yeah.
for. And we do have other ways that we've worked with sellers where we've helped them out in situations, that don't necessarily involve us buying the house. Um, so there's other things that, could possibly be done there as well. Um, but I guess, if she was going to take the, whatever proceeds she got from this to start the business, I mean, have they just shelved the idea of starting the business at this point, or are they figuring
Well,
another way to?
that she wanted not to have a payment because as you're getting the business going, um, she didn't want, that would be just one less thing that she had going out. And no, she's got the business financing figured out apparently. I don't know.
Got
Once
it.
again, yeah, she's doing, she's talking like she knows what she's doing, and I sure as hell hope she does. But well, I'm just the old grandfather. I'll let I've always let my kids and grandkids, jump out there and hey, make a mistake and sometimes you learn more from the mistakes than you do from the
Oh, a
successes.
thousand percent. It's
Yeah.
like, I've been training jujitsu for like 12 years and I, compete pretty regularly and well, not since my knee surgery, but I have. And, it's always funny. It's like you win a tournament and it's like, oh, what could I have done better? I mean, I
Yeah.
won, but like, man, I'll tell you, every time I got my butt handed to me, I leveled up big time. So,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
Sometimes failure is the best tool. And that's the problem with our culture, today is like, everything is participation trophies and,
Oh yeah.
attaboy. And it's like, are we really teaching our kids anything? Are they learning or are they just getting, a round of applause? And it's like, I don't know.
Well, I don't know how old you are, but the thing that kind of frosts my ass um, is that they'll just quit jobs. It's like,
Yep.
man, I don't, I've quit jobs before, but I made damn sure I had a job before. And
Yeah.
oh no, don't worry about it. I'll find one, and and they do, but that environment isn't going to last, and they're not learning that, very valuable tool that, sometimes you just got to hang on to a job, even if you don't like it, till you find something else.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and that's, it's funny you say that because, I've done that. I'm 42 and, my,
Yeah.
my wife is 41. She's a teacher. I mean, we just retired her because, of our daughter, but,
Uh,
she's a teacher and her, dad's like, oh, you stay at a job long term, but I have a long sales background and,
uh,
certain industries like teaching, it's like, yeah, you stay long, there's certain other industries where like these days it makes sense, but then there's other industries where literally there's no loyalty on either side of the table. And it's like,
oh
what have
yeah.
you done for me lately? And it's like,
Yeah.
you have to like level up, you reach the ceiling at this place and it's like, okay, well now I'm going to take that experience and go over here. And, but yeah, I think a lot of kids these days are super flippant about the way they
Sure.
bounce around and there's not like a lot of thought put into it. It's what am I comfortable doing, not what's going to
Yeah.
get me to the next level.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, I guess, you know, where would you guys need to be to where, this would make sense for you guys to pull the trigger and move forward?
Well, that's the thing, and the one thing that scared me with what you just said was the first guy that gave me the 44,000 thing that I kind of chuckled on, said the word underwriters, and so when you said that, I thought, okay, I know where this is going already. But no, and like I said, I just got done turning down 88,000. So I don't know if you think I'm serious, or maybe I like you better than I like the other guy. But honestly, if it's not, it probably wouldn't have to be 100, but it would have to be closer than 88.
Okay.
So like mid 90s. I mean, I told a lot of the people that, I'm looking for 100. Yeah, there's a little wiggle room, but emphasis on little. And then, of course, everybody has their own definition of little. Apparently, the first guy thought little was $56,000 was wiggle, because that's the difference between 44 and 100. I don't know if how quick you are with that.
I gotcha.
So if and hey, I'm a business guy, and I applaud you. If I was you, I'd want to buy my house for $50,000 too, because then it's a no-brainer. I mean, you're gonna, it's not whether or not you'll make money; it's how much.
Yeah.
And the more money, the lower you get, the easier you sleep at night.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that. I'm just telling you from my standpoint that it's just not going to happen. And why are we even, conversing if you're going to throw me a figure of 44?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what number they would come back at, if they would even come back with a number. Honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, the way they're all, any company is going to look at it through the lens of like, okay, best case scenario, if it's the best property in the neighborhood compared to other, similar properties, like what could it sell for, and then how much is it going to take me to get it to look like that house,
Right.
and,
Right.
with everything considered, right. So, I guess, when I know you said some of the stuff was already done, like the bath and the kitchen, like how new are they?
Oh, we bought it 2 years ago, and the kids, they fortunately, my granddaughter's father is in the construction business, and he works with concrete, but several years you don't do much concrete in the winter, so he would work with Amish and building houses, framing them out, and he knew what he was doing, and he installed the cabinets. I have no idea how bad it would have looked if we had tried to do it.
Yeah.
But so he did that, and helped us with the bath. The one guy that looked at it with his dad said, yeah, the best thing in that house is the bathroom, and the kids were serious about that being their house. They didn't just get the cheapest generic stuff. It's very eclectic. For example, the toilet is some custom. It's rectangular. It's not oval, and so where the hell did you find that? And and they're kids, and so they scour the internet. Oh my God, look at this! This is so great, and so the bathroom it's nice. It's maybe a little overdone. She put wallpaper and wainscoting, and it's for my taste. she kind of overdid it, but it's got a new tub, new sink, new toilet, the kitchen, new fridge, new, cupboards and stuff like that. It's not perfect. There's still work to do in the house. We did the vinyl tile flooring, and found that there was just enough of a give in the floor. Plus, I think we got the wrong. We took up a flooring, and we replaced it with a flooring that was more rigid, and it's cracked in a lot of spots. It was cracking within months, and so either we got a really poor quality vinyl, or the flooring that we took up, we noticed that it was a flexible. It was the same kind of a theory, but it was very flexible. It was almost like it was a rubber backed. It had a lot of give.
Yeah.
And but the previous people had been renting, and they had dogs, and my granddaughter was no. And so we took that up, and there was hardwood flooring under about a little over half of the house, and before I could stop her, she put some like white seal paint. It would seal it from, any because if I had caught her in time, I would have sanded that floor, sanded it and stained it. It would have looked a lot better. But
Got it.
anyway,
You're talking about the original flooring that was there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, and now that she's painted, it's like, I can't, that paint's going to seep down into cracks. There's no way you're going to get that out by sanding it.
Yeah.
If you did, you'd have to sand the crap out of it. So
Got it.
That's not going to happen. So,
okay.
But anyhow, so we have to remove some of that flooring that we put down, and I think that what I'll do is I'll paint that hardwood floor brown, and I can't leave it white because, good Lord, white floor isn't going to last long. So that's like having white carpet. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's not going to work. Yeah, and especially with 3 kids.
Oh yeah.
Within hours, minutes, it would be bad. So.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, that's so there's things like that. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh well, the gutters, but I knew that from the get-go. And I don't know if I'll do the roof, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling like, again, you guys want to make money, and there's no point in breaking even, doing the work and saying, oh my God, this is fantastic, and then making $5,000. It's like, okay, that isn't what we're doing here.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, so it sounds like, flooring would need to be done, gutters needs to be done, possibly the roof, and she's lived in it for 2 years, so probably needs a paint job on the inside, maybe. I mean, I don't know, what's the condition of the paint?
Well, before these guys came out, the house, she has like 4,000 toys, and so they're always, no matter when I go over there, they're always just scattered everywhere. It's just it's a minefield, and so they knew that people were coming, so that was the one real good outcome, is it forced them to pick up a lot of that stuff. And once she did, it was, and I think that might be playing on why she's changed her mind, is that once she got it all cleaned up, it was like, oh, yeah, well, this isn't so bad. And maybe it was just the frustration of, watching where you walk that was bothering her. And I think it's easier to see the areas that just need a little bit of this or that. No, if I was going to if she was still adamant on selling it, I would probably spend 4, maybe $5,000. I'd put the gutters in, and then the rest of it would be the porch needs a couple of panes of glass and basically painted. There's some trim that needs to be painted, I would paint part of those floors, and then I would just kind of assess the rest of it. I might take all of that tile up and put some carpet down. I don't know.
Okay.
But I was
What?
thinking 4 or $5,000, yeah.
Got it.
But
Okay.
that's not to make it the prettiest house in the neighborhood. I'm
Yeah.
not going to chase the guy next door. I mean, he had people come in. I don't know, maybe like what you guys are thinking, and and they did a really fine job.
Yeah, you're talking
And
about
he got
1233, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that. I was actually just looking at that one, and that's kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, it sold for 135.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that thing is pretty much dressed to the nines, for that size house. Looks like the roof
Sure.
is pretty new. The windows are all
Oh,
brand new.
yeah. I don't know if you know what the old style diamond roof was. Those pieces of shingle that were actually diamond shaped.
Oh,
You know,
no. Oh,
like
yeah. I
40,
think I know what
50
you're
years
talking about.
ago.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it
still
had that
asphalt,
stuff.
right? But it's just a different pattern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But they stopped making that 40, 50 years ago, and
Yeah.
that's what it had on there. And so yeah, he had a new roof. And
Got it. Okay.
anyway, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, just looking at that, right? So like, just for your own benefit, I mean, like
yeah,
how we have to look at it is, if we took, I mean, that's probably the best comp we're going to find because the square
sure,
footage is almost spot on. It's
right,
a 2-1. It's right next door.
right,
I think his is the old wood siding, but it looks freshly painted, new roof. So, I mean, there's not really anything to do to add value to his home, right?
right,
Other than, well, the basement looks, like a dungeon sort of.
sure.
And I don't know if your basement is similar to his, but it's all like,
Yeah, it's not finished, but it's
yeah,
dry.
yeah. So that's probably looking at his house, that's the only negative that I see is that basement is pretty
Yeah,
shot. But I mean, we would essentially look at it like, all right, well, 135 and that closed back in May. I don't think there's anything else really close by. This one has 2 bathrooms. That's a different style home and smaller. Um, there's another one over on Osage that I think it's a newer home. Let me see here. No, it's same year build. That's also dressed to the nines, and that closed at about 145. So
okay.
call it 140, right?
Yeah,
Averaged
yeah,
out. What they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, well, what is it going to absolutely take us to be able to sell it at that number, right? So they're going
sure.
to say, okay, well, we're going to have to pay generally 10% for realtor commissions, closing costs, buy requests for repairs, all that. So that brings us down to 126. And then what are we really going to need to do to make it look like these other houses? And it's definitely going to take more than $5,000. I mean, both of these
Oh
have
yeah.
have
Oh,
new
definitely.
roofs, so a roof on
Yeah,
something like this is probably $8,000, maybe 10.
yeah,
So call it 9 for the roof. Paint, and we would do to match these ones. We would do LVP throughout. Which on is probably about $3 a square foot. $3 to $4 a
what's
square
that?
foot. Luxury vinyl plank flooring. We would just lay it down right over top of, it's the planks that snap together. It's all waterproof,
Oh,
but that's what all
oh,
these
okay.
other houses have. And so that would probably cost us all in probably, $4,000, right?
Yeah,
And then, we'd have, I mean, the exterior siding on yours, like you said, there's some trim. There's probably another, you know, $5,000 to $10,000 worth of stuff to
yeah.
do. So
No,
that puts us,
the one guy that looked at it, um, that was giving me the pluses and the minuses, and he's the one that said the bathroom was probably the best part, and but he said the other good things was that it had vinyl siding,
Mhm.
and double pane windows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so you
yeah,
wouldn't
I
need to
mean,
do that, but
yeah,
just talking about like the trim, like some of the trim on the house, like around the window frames,
oh right, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
that type of stuff. You'd have to paint, you got to do the
right,
gutters. You know, gutters
right,
is usually going to be about 250 a linear foot, you know, maybe $3 a linear foot. So it's a small house, probably looking at like maybe 2 grand for gutters, you know.
yeah,
So
that's kind of what
so
I figured.
yeah, so all in before we even make a dime, that brings us down to $100,000.
Oh, okay,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So, you know, I think honestly for them coming in at would you say 82, 88?
No, it was 88. Yeah, I got him on.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was he said, I told him the whole scenario, and so he knew that, at least I assume he knew that I wasn't gonna jump at some wild ass figure. He came in at 85.5, and I told her, and I said, honey, you're probably only gonna walk away with 12.5. I'm gonna have to take kind of a haircut, but it just depends on how bad you want out. And she said no. And so I knew, I even called her back and she didn't answer. I said, honey, if I tell him no, I already told him that, I had some way. I know he's going to come up a little bit. And sure enough, as soon as I told him no, he said, I can do 88. And I just, yeah. But by that time, like I said, yeah, she had
Yeah.
railed
She
out.
already
But
chalked it up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
there's just not
honestly,
enough there for you guys. Yeah.
yeah, I don't even see how there's really enough room for him because quite frankly, I mean, like, do you know if like has the electrical been upgraded?
Not that I know of,
I
but
mean, that's a
well, no,
scary.
there's a decent panel in the kitchen. So yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's not from the beginning of time. I mean, I
Yeah.
obviously, but no, he said he was going to, um, he was going to rent it. That he was looking
Mm.
at it for a rental. So I don't know if that if you use different parameters,
Yeah, a little bit different parameters. I mean, you're not gonna dress it to the nines like the next door neighbor, you
Sure,
know, you're gonna just make it livable. But
right.
the other thing that I mean, so but he's probably, maybe he buys it cash and he doesn't do the roof and he holds out for a few years,
Yeah.
but and then the plumbing, I mean, since it was built in 1900, do you know if the main line has ever been replaced to the street?
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, I mean those two things, right? So rewiring a house and replacing the main line. I mean, we did a deal where from the street to the house, it was like
Yeah,
12 feet of a main line, and it was like
yeah.
15 to $20,000 to dig it all
Woo!
up and replace it. And I mean, it was a big hassle because you got to dig it all out and replace
Yeah,
it, and then if you're fixing whatever concrete gets damaged, the
yeah.
landscaping there, so it can be kind of wild. I don't see how from a fix and flip standpoint, you know, it would make sense if he's buying it for a
Sure.
long-term hold. I could potentially see it, um,
Yeah.
but it just still seems really, really skinny. So, um,
Can I ask you a a question that probably you're the only one that could answer? What are the chances? Because we never pursued it. I never signed his thing that he emailed me,
yeah.
and I actually had never even looked at it. I saw it popped up, and I just didn't touch it. But what are the chances that he gets me on paper? And because I get this stuff from Kingdom Homes all the time, and I'm sure that there's plenty of outfits out there just like that, and all they're doing is they're just trying to get somebody to say yes, I'll sell it for X number of dollars,
Mhm.
and then they're trying to find investors in the area that will buy it for Y number of dollars, and they just make the difference.
Mhm.
And if they make 5, 10, 15, they haven't left home. They're still sitting on the sofa
Yeah.
answering phone. And so, what are the chances that that's what this guy was doing?
Uh, I mean, well, I mean, we did the math, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't
So he's
see
probably not, because nobody would really, no investor would pay
now.
him. They would have to
Well,
pay him 100, and then, he would sell for 88, and
well, the greater question is, what's the likelihood that he's successfully doing that, right? Because
yeah,
there's plenty of, there's all these YouTube channels out there where it's like, get into real estate investing with none of your own money and blah,
uh-huh,
blah, 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 right?
yeah,
And so
oh
like these
yeah,
guys, they start doing it, but they don't know the numbers, right? They don't
yeah,
understand what it takes to do the renovation and how to properly underwrite a deal. So when so they come in with a high offer, and like
yeah,
88. Like in my opinion, like unless it's just a small mom and pop outfit and they're doing all the work themselves and they're going to keep
yeah,
it, do everything, you know, I find it hard to believe that 88 is a solid number that anybody could close at on this. Um, you know,
so the chances are that he would come up and go, oh no, I can't give you 88 for this.
that's a very strong possibility. I mean, I've seen that happen hundreds of
Okay,
times
yeah,
where,
yeah,
where people make higher offers just to lock people up into contract.
sure,
And then, and the problem is not everybody is up against it, right? But, like a good
oh
percentage of
sure,
the people are up against it to the point where you go 60 days and you're coming up on closing. And then all of a sudden they're like, oops, we can't do that number, because of
yeah,
X, Y, and Z. My funding partner backed out. This person backed out. The rehab,
sure,
we found, we did a sewer scope and we are going to have to replace that main line. And that's going to cost us
yeah,
12 grand. And so now we got to be, at a 60K offer. And I've had countless sellers call me back and like, is your offer still good? Because guys have come back and ended up being lower than what our original offer
yeah,
was.
yeah,
Um, so,
huh,
and a lot of sellers that are up against it, they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll just close and take what you got,
yeah, yeah.
because they don't want to start
Well,
all
they
over.
make plans, they, you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
and then, yeah. All right.
um,
Well, I appreciate you keeping me busy while I'm driving.
yeah, no worries, man. Well, I mean, I don't want to just like toss it completely out the window, I mean,
Yeah.
and I started looking at some things and, I mean, trust me, if I saw the neighbor's house, sold for 175, 180, then, we'd be
Right.
having a different conversation.
Sure.
But just looking at, I mean, even the one that sold at 145, let me see if that was. Yeah, okay, so check this out. So the one that sold for 145 was a
Yeah.
flip. They bought it for
Oh.
61. Yeah, they bought it
Oof.
for 61 May 8th and then turned around, flipped it and sold it for 145. And so if I just do just some basic calculations after commissions, closing costs and everything minus the 61 they paid for it, so that leaves roughly 69 between, after commissions and closing costs and what they bought it
Wow.
for. But chances are they probably, I mean, this thing's dressed to the nines,
Is it? Yeah.
so they probably, for under 1,000 square feet for a full cosmetic fixer. It looks like it has a new roof as well. So you got 30,000 for the cosmetic flip, and then probably like another 10K for the roof. So that leaves about 29 grand, and then they probably have about, I'd say $8,000 to $10,000 in holding costs. So call it 8,000. And that's only like a 20 to $22,000 profit margin. It's
Wow.
all said and done.
Wow. Huh.
So
Crazy.
yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and that's the challenge. So I mean, but if those guys are serious at 88, I would absolutely, if you guys want to sell, I would pull the trigger on that and take that
Yeah.
number.
Well, like I said, yeah, at 88, I can get just about everything that I've got in it out.
Yeah.
But it leaves her at about 15, and and that's okay. But I think by this time, she's just decided, what. And the other thing is the city's developing down at the end of the street, and she thinks that's where why the activity is why we're just being. You can't believe my phone is just it's 3-4 times a day.
Yeah.
I know that if I pick it up, that if it's not a name, like I know who it is, then it's almost for sure going to be somebody for the house.
Yeah.
It's amazing that there's that many people out there doing that. It's
Yeah.
just, crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cold callers in Egypt that are dialing, getting paid, $4 to $6 an hour to cold call for leads.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
I've got a question for you that,
Yeah.
might make things a little bit different for you.
I can't give you a sample. I have all the.
Definitely don't want that. That's for sure. Plus, it would spoil by the time it got here anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if it sounds like she would just be walking with a little bit of cash up front, and you would just be getting your money back out of it. What if there was a world where we could, put a little bit of cash in her pocket, solve the problem for her, but then for you, rather than you selling it, we just turn you from a landlord into a lender, and you carry paper on it, and then we just have a monthly payment to you for a period of time until we pay it off, and then we take it on and we rent it out, and that way you're getting monthly cash flow, and maybe that gives us room to turn up the number a bit to where you're happier and we're getting the benefit of not having to jump through the hoops with the bank to finance it, or bring cash and make it
I
win-win.
appreciate the idea. However, the whole reason that I'm trying to, like I said, I've talked to the bank to look into financing, because I will be 70 in about a year and a half.
Okay.
And I have in my mind, before I hit 70, I have this property, and I actually am on the deed of a property in Woodburn, but I've sold it on land contract to another guy, and that was like it'll be 10 years this next summer, that he was also supposed to be getting his act together and then getting his own loan. So with what I get from that one and this one, I can pay off my house. And if I can enter my 70s having no bills, not even a mortgage, and just paying utilities, then you never know. I mean, I could lose this wonderful job, and at some point I will, and with that, and I have a fairly nice house. I can live very comfortably on my Social Security, and anyway, that's my goal. So it really, that's not going to work.
Okay.
But I appreciate the offer.
Okay. No, I appreciate you, telling me. I mean, what's the payment on your primary's mortgage?
$1,300.
$1,300. Okay, got it. And what are you getting for the land contract from the other guy?
Well, he was engaged to my stepdaughter at the time, and so they've got a really good deal. Also, but I'm the king of, hey, I just want to get X number of dollars out, and so he he only owes me somewhere in the mid-60s, and he pays me $140 a week. and he has it taken out of his paycheck every week. So it's been regular, like 9 years, just $140 in my account
Got
every
it.
week.
So about 560 to 600 a month, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and I totally hear and respect the idea of like, okay, let me get cashed out on both of these and then just pay off my mortgage, right? What's your
Yeah.
interest rate on your current mortgage?
Well, it's 2.85.
Oh man,
And
you got a freaking golden rate right there.
yeah,
So,
I know. So you're gonna say, why in the world would you do that? And as
well,
it
no,
stands
not
right now,
necessarily. I understand,
yeah,
but what it like so, and like our whole thing is we're a creative real estate company, right? Like we're always
okay,
thinking about how can we get creative in a way where,
right,
it makes sense for everybody and we're, leveraging other people's money essentially, right? Leveraging the bank's money. And so,
okay,
you know, if there was a world like sure, paying that off is great,
yeah,
but if you could effectively cover the entire monthly payment, right? And
right,
possibly put a little bit of extra cash in your pocket, right? And so now, like, even, if we structured it to where, hey, we were willing to give you a little bit more, pay a premium for this property and just pay it over time, or make it so you're making a little more interest than what you're paying, then you're effectively arbitraging the interest on your house because your payments are getting made comfortably.
yeah,
And usually the way we structure the terms, it's like structured over a 30-year term, but there's some sort of a balloon payment that hits, somewhere
right,
between like the 3 to 7 year mark. Um,
yeah.
that way it gets refied and, cashed out, but it, could be a way to kind of maximize the
Well, how
value.
would that? So would I keep? Would I stay on, or would you guys literally be buying a house and then paying me
Yeah, so
over time?
Yeah, so typically the way that it works is we would close on the house, right? And we would close, title would transfer, and then you would have a promissory note and a deed of trust. You would literally be, the bank, just the same way, whether it's Wells Fargo, whoever has your bank, it would just be you would be, or your mortgage, it would be the Bank of Randy, and the Bank of Randy is due a check every single month for X amount of dollars, and then until that balloon hits, and then I'm guessing you're the only one on title. So as far as like your
Yeah,
granddaughter is concerned, the cash up front, if you're like, well, I want to give that to my granddaughter. Okay, great. That's between you guys,
yeah.
but that works out. And then, you have, you're secured with a deed of trust, promissory note, all the normal things that a mortgage company would have to secure their interest and their note against the real estate.
Well, obviously, I'd have to sit and scratch, uh, figure that out on paper as far as, um, huh. Actually, yeah, that way you don't have to obtain financing. I am the financing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we're just talking about her house, or are we talking, because I mean, he wants to keep that house. He just, um, is that what you were referring to, or not?
I was just mainly talking about, her house, the house, we've been
Okay.
talking about. I mean, we can certainly add other components to the conversation, but yeah, that's kind of where my head was at, was just on
Yeah,
this
I
house.
just don't see how the Woodburn house would work at, doing that too. I mean, yeah, I'm until the land contract would get satisfied, I'm still the name on the deed.
Hmm.
But I recorded that land contract,
Hmm.
and so I when I look at trying to finance it in order to get my money out, and then just handing him the loan, saying, "Okay, it's in my name, but here's the payment. It's all yours, buddy." Slap
Hmm.
him on the back. All the best.
Yeah.
And and I've been told by the whoever, the recorders, the auditors downtown, that until that thing gets satisfied, that my name stays on the deed, and it's not until it's satisfied then it passes over to him. So yeah, I don't see
Yeah,
how
so
you guys
that's
could.
not actually accurate.
No?
No, so my wife and I, we just purchased our home. We literally closed 3 weeks ago on a home where we purchased it subject to the existing mortgage. So essentially what that means is like the title transfers, the mortgage stays in the seller's name, and then we just have an agreement with the seller that we're making the mortgage payments directly to the mortgage on their behalf, basically.
Right.
So the loan is in the seller's name, but the title transfers over,
Huh.
and so you could do that. The difference in your situation is because you have a land contract,
Yeah.
you would effectively need to like kind of unwind that transaction, or like
Yeah. That's what I was told. I need to get quick claims from both of them.
yeah, you'd need
And
to release the land contract,
right.
and then what you could do is you could sell it to him subject to the existing mortgage where the title
Well,
transfers
there is no
over.
mortgage.
Well, but what you're talking about was refinancing, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, so if
Okay.
you
Okay.
refinance, then you put a mortgage on it, then you
Yeah.
sell it to him subject to the existing mortgage,
Okay.
or you could just keep it sold to him as a land contract, right? And then but there's just
Yeah.
an underlying note. There's a million ways to slice that up and make it work.
Yeah.
So, the people at the county recorder's office, like those they barely know enough to make them dangerous. I wouldn't take their word on that. We've done hundreds of these types of deals all over the place, and
Okay.
there's a million ways you can structure it. Um, but yeah, I mean the big thing with your granddaughter's house is just figuring out, okay, well, what is it, the cash up front that she would need, um, or you guys would need, and then
Yeah.
what kind of monthly payment makes sense. That's usually like when I'm working with somebody and they're like, I don't care about anything else. I just care about getting the number that I want for the house. Terms usually is the best way to make that happen. Um,
Yeah.
and so um,
All right. Well,
I mean, so you would just have to figure out, okay, what kind of monthly payment, would make sense for you. And just to kind of put some guardrails on it, so you kind of know like the lens that we would be looking through. We're not
sure.
trying to we're not going to get rich off of cash flow off a property like this, right? It's not like
Right.
we're gonna get $5,000 a month in rent. We would basically be looking at, okay, what can properties in that neighborhood reasonably rent for in that condition, and I don't know, just
Yeah.
at a basic glance on Zillow, it's probably somewhere around $1,000 a month, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I would
so
guess.
yeah, so if it's $1,000 a month, we generally are going to have about 8 to 10% for property management, and then we're going to have 15% that gets set aside for vacancy maintenance and repairs. So that way, we're funding any of that
Right.
stuff along the way. So you take 1,000 times 0.75, that leaves us with $750. So the monthly payment that we would be paying to you would come out of that 750, and we would want to be able to net cash flow somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 to 400 bucks a month.
So yeah, it'd be 550 that you would be paying me.
Yeah, that would probably, yeah, I mean, if those numbers work out, then yeah, somewhere in that
Yeah.
450 to 550 range.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting yeah thing. So yeah.
I mean, heck, like I'd be willing to pay you $1 million for your house if you were like, I'll take $1 a month for 1 million months. You know what I mean? Like that's yeah.
Right.
So it's just a matter of figuring out how it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. I never thought I'd see the day when Fort Wayne properties would sell for $1 million, but I live in a neighborhood that the adjoining neighborhood has some, much nicer houses in it, and one of them just sold for $1 million, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's not that nice. It's a nice house, but it isn't. It isn't that nice. But you live in California, and you see $1 million houses all the time.
Oh yeah. I mean, the house we just closed on is 800,000, and that's below that's below median price point, right? Like, so,
And you feel like you got a really good deal on that, right?
well, yeah, because we took over. So all we had to do was 40 grand cash to close, and
Oh my goodness.
we took over a mortgage that was at a 4.625% interest rate.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and it's fully renovated. The only thing it's going to need is a roof sometime in the next year. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're confident that, San Diego is just going to keep exploding.
Oh,
It's still the lowest priced major city in all of California, comparatively, comparatively to LA and San Francisco. It's way lower. So, we know. And the other thing is we're going to be building an ADU out back for my mom to live in. So that's going to
wow.
pop the value up a bit as well.
Huh.
So
Well, that's cool.
yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, it turned out to be a good deal. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, we have a property listed right now in Indianapolis that's currently listed for 950,000. And that thing's,
Crazy.
yeah, exactly. But it's like a 5,000 square foot house, finished
Sure.
basement, 3-car
Yeah.
garage, so
Yeah. Well,
3
Fort Wayne's
acres.
always been a real, real inexpensive market, and I think that's I think there's a lot of things at play. One is the development down at the end of the street, and Fort Wayne is really well thought of, and the fact that they've been undervalued for so long that I guess that's why I'm getting all these phone calls. So,
Yeah.
it's crazy. All right. Well, yeah, and I think that we've gone about as far as we can go.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I appreciate the time.
Yeah,
And,
no worries. Yeah, keep me posted. I mean, if anything changes, if she's back on the train and, wanting to possibly make a move, and, you guys are looking to squeeze a little more out of it than the, 88 number. I mean, if you just want to cash out the 88 number, I think he's coming in with a great number that honestly I'd be impressed if he actually closes at that number.
yeah.
But if you looking to squeeze a little more out and you're willing to take it on terms, then, I think we might be able to work something out.
Okay, buddy. Appreciate
All right. Awesome. Appreciate you, Randy. Have a good, safe drive, and, try not to get covered in an accident.
it. Actually, I've delivered all this stuff, so I'm just
Oh,
okay.
okay. Oh,
Yeah, it's all
nice.
gone.
All right. Awesome.
You have a good
Awesome.
night.
You too. Safe drive.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye. All right, guys. Well, that's where I'm gonna wrap up. I gotta take off. It's already 6:15, and my family just got into town. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel where we make real estate investing easy. Peace.